slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Brazen.
And your boy Double O.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen. Part of being a Bitcoiner, right? Apparently, is understanding how Bitcoin can be attacked and how Bitcoin can come to an end. Okay, you must understand the enemy in order to dominate. Right? This quote is actually in a
The book.
it's Sun Tzu, Art of War. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. It's also shared in this article here from Bitcoin Magazine, right? And we have an article here, and the writer says how countries could try to kill Bitcoin adoption. We'll talk about how can Bitcoin be attacked. How could they try to stop this adoption of Bitcoin? Something that we know we cannot afford to lose, right? If you know both yourself and your enemy, you can win 100 battles without a single loss. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Well, as we know, man, central planners and other, such government entities seem to not have a liking for Bitcoin, right? As we can see, places like China, where is it? What is the other one? Turkey. Right, there's been a few countries where like these people do not like Bitcoin. Nigeria, right? They don't like Bitcoin, and they do
Russia now.
Oh, Russia is against Bitcoin now.
Oh man, they want to keep that. What's their currency called?
Oh, they're trying to make the rubles the
rubles.
strong thing.
Yeah,
Listen, man, I think Russia is
the war of the fiats.
America has been dominating them for a long time, and they want to come back and be like, hey, in the history books, Russia was also a world power, and what do they call this? A reserve currency. The rubles was a reserve currency at some point. Fine, bro. Keep trying to write your history books, okay? But my life is not here to participate in your little history. I'm here to survive. I'm here to do what is best for me and do what I can do for humanity, improving, to contribute to society. We cannot just come here and spend time and then leave. This is not what life is about, man. It is a blessing to be able to wake up every day and have this life that none of us can explain, except that there is a greater power that allows us as human beings to be able to operate the way we are, man. All of nature cannot be created by human being. You see how spectacular it is. People can try to belittle it and say it's just science. Okay. But listen, you were not there on day one. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot explain to me why the universe itself is just displaced the way it is. No human being planned that shit. But in Bitcoin very much way, but on a smaller scale, we can see that is what Bitcoin in some ways, I would say it is one of the 7 wonders of the world, man.
Sure.
Now make it 8 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
How can someone create something like this that the whole world cannot dominate?
Yeah.
Right? But it does not come without its vulnerabilities. And I would say most of its vulnerabilities and vectors of attack really lies with us, because the technology itself will keep chugging along. It's about how people would maximize this opportunity. Right? So let's read a little bit from this article here. It says Bitcoin is an idea. It's a technology that provides property rights, rule of law, economic freedom, free markets, and ultimately sound money to the individual. This is very important, because we know that if we fix the money, we'll fix a lot of the problems around the world. But we must also be aware. We must also be aware of the vector of attacks, the ways that people can try to attack Bitcoin and keep society suppressed, if you will. Right.
Yeah. Can I add something to that little sentence?
Yes.
Because I think it's very important that we expand on that little topic real quick.
Yeah.
Property rights. What people don't realize is that they don't own anything. The World Economic Forum already told them, you own nothing and you'll be happy.
Own nothing and be happy. Yeah.
And what Bitcoin is trying to tell you is that you can eventually start to own your energy, your value, your assets.
Yeah.
And secure it to yourself. Rule of law.
Absolutely.
It's now a point where a small group of people decide what law is, and then they build it to their own advantage. Bitcoin decentralizes all of that. We all have the same rights. Right?
This is something people should think about. If you look at the countries that made Bitcoin legal tender, El Salvador, and Central African Republic. When these countries, sovereign countries, I must add, made the decision to make Bitcoin legal tender,
Yep.
the World Economic Forum had something to say about it. The IMF had something to say about it. And these countries are sovereign countries, not governed by the IMF or the World Economic Forum. So how can they have a say? Remember, none of us voted these people into power as governing bodies.
It's a private institutions. They're not even countries.
Right.
They're not
So-
voted into office by us.
Can someone explain to me what the heck is their business worrying about what a sovereign country makes us legal tender? Right? I'll leave that there.
Which then goes to that next topic, economic freedom. You just said
Exactly.
it. Your own
Economic freedom.
freedom. You don't need an external influence by a private organization.
Absolutely.
Free markets, right? Free markets
Yes.
means you can operate anywhere globally without somebody saying, "Oh, guess what? That country is not my friend, so you're not allowed to interact with them." I don't understand it. Like my parents were not involved in the old arguments between you two leaders. Why shouldn't Nigeria and Cameroon be able to trade among themselves without invisible borders? Just trade among themselves.
Exactly.
Ultimate sound money. That's the perfect one. Once you fix money, I think we fix a lot of the issues going on around the world right now.
Fixed supply, not having people print money out of nowhere. Right.
Yep.
So let's look at some of these. So he wrote this in stages, which is pretty cool. So stage one, right? One thing they could do is to set up unfavorable tax status for Bitcoin. I think that this would be very effective in the sense, in the situation where you're buying your Bitcoin and you're taking the profits and turning it back into fiat.
Yep.
And so now they have a means to tax you, and they'll make sure those taxes are absolutely ridiculous. Imagine paying 90% taxes on your Bitcoin just because you sold it into fiat. You're essentially a slave at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that governments need to be thinking about when they try to make some egregious tax laws, man. The more money you take from people, the more you're crossing into this zone where people are working for free and you're just robbing them. And at some point you have to start calling it what it is, which would be slavery. There's kind of
it's
no two ways
modern day
about it.
sovereigns, modern day slavery. Like the folks that did the best was the Roman Empire, and then the Dutch Empire came behind many years after, and even did way worse. So I think taxation is theft, especially with the current tax code. And taxes is one of the biggest approach to kill Bitcoin or crypto. Is to tax it heavily, almost like in the stock markets. If you don't have enough money being traded in that space, it almost makes no sense for you to be in that space, because 40% taxes on your gains is extreme.
It is extreme.
If you're an employee and you get income taxes, it's just as high as well. So how do you get ahead? They keep you down with taxes.
Yeah, you can't get ahead with something like that, because not only taxes, you also look at inflation, right? They can just increase the prices of everything. Now, stage 2, unfavorable regulation. Ban the use of Bitcoin technology, aka math and information. Illegal, aka make math and information illegal, right? So internet censorship.
They're already doing that.
That's another one. They're
doing that right now.
Yeah, they're really trying. I mean, see, China already did this. They try to. You can't transact in Bitcoin in China, right? They don't even want people holding Bitcoin, all that stuff. All these radical detectors, they tend to want to do this.
So you see that the internet brought about the decentralization of information.
Right.
So instead of books being locked away in the library, you need a specific kind of license to access that type of book. All these books, most of these books, not all of them, because they're doing the same thing with seeds now, with plants, locking away plants. You can literally go on the internet and get all this locked away information on the internet. Most of them, I'll say close to 80-90%. A lot of books are still locked away that gives you a lot of real information. So now what you see now is that, true black history, true African history is locked away. You don't get that. Basically, even in the school system now, you don't get in that. The lock away of mathematics and information, you see that on YouTube, on Twitter, like real information has been locked away. So they can do that with Bitcoin as well. So if you go on YouTube and you watch a video, they can use the algorithms to prevent people from watching the real information about Bitcoin.
Yeah. I'll give you another example of censorship here, and it's actually interesting because it's on a platform that we're on right now, YouTube
Yep.
here. Okay, just a couple weeks ago, I mean, as a matter of fact, just until a couple days ago, right?
Yep.
The YouTube
Agree.
guidelines or rules, right, specifically said that you cannot say that the COVID-19 vaccination or the COVID-19 vaccine does not prevent contracting COVID.
Mm-hmm.
They said you cannot say that on YouTube. People got banned for it. People got canceled for it. And then within a day, right, after Biden started going, oh, okay, we have to turn it down. And as the elections are coming up, right, they changed it where now you will not get banned for it. You can now say that, the use of that the COVID-19 vaccine is not going to prevent you from contracting COVID. Right? So the algorithms was essentially kind of coasting around and looking for anyone who said vaccines and COVID and removing them from the platform. I wonder what is going to happen now that I've said it multiple times.
China.
So now they're at the point where they're agreeing that, listen, man, the COVID-19 vaccine is not effective in preventing COVID.
I got the vaccine and I still got COVID.
Look at that, man. And it's the truth, it's the fact. But if you said that back then, man, you get banned. What does that say?
If they can do that to COVID, then they can do that to Bitcoin.
Hey, listen, man, we're in a free land, right? They actually cannot do that to Bitcoin. Screw these people. Now, stage 3, energy shortages, internet outages, and food shortage. This is already coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is already coming.
We're already feeling it right now. This
yeah,
fall
it's
is
gonna
going to be crazy, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
gonna be crazy.
a lot of the miners. We have a lot of miners in Europe.
Mm.
I'm not sure if you notice. Every time we look at the charts, I will look at the map.
Yeah,
there is
there's
a
decent
ton of
amount
miners in
them
Europe. Yeah.
But given the whole ESG situation, shouldn't they be amongst the people getting the cleanest energy?
Hey, they are the one
Because-
pushing it. They're the biggest proponent.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what happens there. Which it does not matter anyway, man, because there's miners all over the world. So you can shut down a bunch of miners, and it is what it is. You can try to, spoof transactions or pay miners to censor transactions on the Bitcoin network, but it's game theory, man. It's going to keep. You can keep offering higher and higher fees until someone accepts your transaction.
Yeah.
And so, with the average miner, right, someone that they cannot necessarily reach, your transactions will still happen. They can try to slow down the network. They can try to affect the network's operation, but it cannot be stopped. It's just something that is there, right? And so they can now say, oh, because of energy shortages, we have to shut down mining and stuff like that. But we know already that they really kind of push Bitcoin into this place where the miners are using the cleanest energy that is out there. So, and then stage 4, if all else fails, mass genocides of Bitcoiners.
I mean, we saw what happened to the guy. We saw what happened to the guy that had his first blockchain in a South American country. It was digital currency. I can't remember. Was it Brazil? And the president called him into the office and said, hey, we're going to support this. We're going to do whatever. The guy got into the office and then just took him out to the left. The guy literally had to run away for his life. They almost killed him.
We've seen it happen over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is people who have come out and standing for the right thing, and then all of a sudden they've had to run for their lives.
Yeah.
And people don't think about it. People just... a lot of people are weak, man, to be honest, bro. A lot of people are weak. A lot of people stand for nothing. Okay? And yeah, you want to sit there and blame the government, but guess what, man? They're just doing what someone in that position would do. Absolute power corrupts.
Yep.
It is what it is.
They're basically protecting their turf. There's a new technology that brings a greater visibility and access and information to the general public. But as you know, their power is in disinformation and keeping everyone blinded. And if they can open their eyes, it puts them at a big disadvantage. So it's just one of the reasons why they are fighting back. So these are some of the tools that they're going to be using to fight back. And once you know this, you can plan against it. One of the biggest ways to plan against it is not trading or being on exchanges, which are Bitcoin specifically.
Yeah. Look, I think at the end of the day, man, people need to remember this. It is not really the government's responsibility to keep up your lifestyle. It is not the government's responsibility to make sure that you are prosperous, successful, right? The only thing that is the government's responsibility is to make sure that the country is protected, right? Use your tax dollars in an efficient manner to ensure that the general society has the basic conveniences that they need, right? So whether it's
water,
imports and exports to make sure that the country has food, water supply, energy supply, and that's it, man. Everything else is on you. It is your responsibility to make sure that your life is successful and fulfilling, right? And so if people want to sit around and bitch about the government is doing this and that, well, yeah, they're doing it. What are you going to do about it? You know? So to a certain extent, when certain things happen, people need to also take responsibility for their part in what is happening in their lives, man, and figure out how they're going to change it. Because people can cry about it all day. It's not going to change anything. We've seen this happen over and over again. So, I don't know. It might be an unpopular opinion, but people also need to realize that it is their fault that a lot of crazy things happen. You vote for these people.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's our responsibility to vote the right people into office, not the crooked ones.
Yes,
And it's also our responsibility to make sure that they implement the right regulations or the right policies that keeps the community together and growing. And it's also our responsibility to make sure that they are not fraudulent or they don't allow the big banks or the super rich to influence their decision making or make policies on just their behalf. And that's what we've seen lately. People need to start waking up against that, to say you're in office to serve the people, not the super rich.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is, man. It's also your responsibility to educate yourself.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. Bitcoin, finances, it's your responsibility to educate yourself, because the more you educate yourself, that's when you can spot when people are not being truthful to you. Otherwise, you're only just complaining after the fact.
Sheepish. Okay? Following the rules.
Sheepish behavior. And like I said, man, most people are sheep. Well, he also gives some tips here on how we can try to defend against this type of thing. Shield to as many people as possible. The more people that hold on to Bitcoin, the better. This is why we went to the event yesterday. We're out there trying to shield to the people. And as a result, we got now invited to another event, which we're going to set up. Come on now. It's a connection situation. Teach the importance of self-custody and running your own full node. See, there we go. There are great courses, and that's the crazy thing about it, man. Bitcoin education is free. Okay? You don't have to pay anyone for this.
Yeah.
You can just go sit down and read it. Support Bitcoin-only individuals, businesses, and countries. Absolutely. And that's, I think, countries that accept Bitcoin, man. People just migrate to those countries and live a peaceful life. Improve the underlying network and scaling technologies. For example, BIP 324, a Bitcoin improvement proposal, and L2s such as the Lightning Network, right? And people are doing this. It's also incredible to me that the Bitcoin developers, which are a bunch of volunteers not being paid by anyone, are working so hard and making sure that this thing is still going. Meanwhile, you have paid groups like Ethereum unable to get the act together. Isn't that interesting? Bro. Yeah. Build resilient communities and secular Bitcoin economies. Hey, that's happening. And become a Bitcoiner who is a Bitcoin of hope in an abyss of darkness. I agree with that, man. That's all for that one. Any final thoughts, Double O?
You know, I was born in a Christian family. This is not against any other religion out there. And they said, be the light to the world. Yes. And I think being a Bitcoiner allows us to be the light to the world, to let people know that information should be decentralized.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin is information that everybody needs to know about, which should open their eyes to everything going on in economics, in religion itself. If you understand the history of religion, you know, going on with the communities, you know,
Yeah.
with your finance. Once you understand Bitcoin, it starts opening your eyes to a lot of that. So yeah, we hope to be the light to the world. That's what we're here for, and we hope to continue to be able to provide the services to you guys for free.
Hey, incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know, what are your thoughts on this one? What are some other ways that you think that the government could try to stop Bitcoin, and or any government, right? And what are some ways that you think we can more effectively come together and make sure that we can achieve success in the adoption of Bitcoin? All right. One more thing I'll add before we leave. We're going to be on Rumble soon. Okay, we'll be creating an account. As many of you might know, Rumble is the next move. Okay, actually surpassed Instagram as the most downloaded app on the Apple App Store yesterday. And it's a platform where there is no censorship. I think people need to understand the message that is sending. Okay, it's the same thing like Trump, right? No matter how you feel about Trump, that guy won. The fact that he won is sending you a message. Okay, because people put him there for a reason. The fact that Rumble is topping everything right now is sending you a message, because it's not freaking ghosts downloading these things. It's actual real people, and it's telling you what they want to see, and it's telling you what they do not agree with. Right? So there is that. Listen, more aesthetically pleasing and aerodynamic efficient handles down at the bottom. Okay, click them. Well, you cannot click them, but you know, find us on those handles. Alright.
Click up.
Yeah, they click up, man. Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, brazen out.
Double O.
Yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything.